We've got issues.
Thursday, November 4th, Thursday, November 1st, 5 days before the midterm elections. And let's get the show started like we always do in prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you for today, and we ask that you complete the work that you've begun in each of us. Let us see as you see and do as you say. Amen.
Amen.
There's a lot of issues to get to today, Cleveland. I mean, we really struggled with we couldn't fit it all into an hour. We were actually going to ask Pastor James to give us more time for free so that we can get to all these issues. But, hey, if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. Mike and Duran, how you guys doing?
Very well, very well.
Very well? Okay.
It's been a very good week.
Very good week. Yeah. So let's get right to the issues. Duran, we'll start with you. And what's your issue for this week?
My issue for this week is cell phones and how we panic when we don't have them. Technology just made it in a way now where if you don't have your cell phone, it seems like you just lost your life for that day or whatever.
I know.
One time I left my cell phone and I was going to work, and I knew I would probably be late if I went back to get it, but I had to make that big decision. Do I grab my cell phone or do I go to work and face the music? But
right.
I tell you that technology has made it where your whole life is there.
Yeah.
You have to check your cell phone for things. You got movies on there. They done wiped out all the movies and everything. The CDs are gone. Everything you can get on your cell phone, and I tell you what, we're held hostage by that cell phone.
Duran, that's a great issue. Let me ask you something. Between your house keys and your cell phone, those are important, aren't they?
Oh, yeah. I don't know which one is more important. Which one would I go back for first?
Both?
Yeah, I think both. I would say both.
But let me ask you something. Yeah, it's funny, though, because that's a great issue, man. That's a great issue.
Actually, I've left my phone, and I was like, all right, well, they won't get me today.
Mike, we have that same mentality. We say that we use the acronym TAME, because every time our phone rings, people want time and money every time. So you gotta let them go to voicemail. You gotta tame. You gotta, So sometimes leaving your phone is also, God wanted it to happen that day. What can I say? But that's a great issue. Mike, what's your issue for this week?
Well, I got to go in on Agent Orange.
Agent Orange.
For those of you who are not listening, 216-298-1554. Agent Orange is not the thing we used to drop in Vietnam. Mike he does refer to him as that kind of bomb. So who's Agent Orange, Mike?
The POTUS.
Oh, POTUS. Can you break that down for our listeners?
So lately, he always distracts us and then tries to do something undercover.
Absolutely.
So the undercover thing this time is that he's trying to pass an executive order that makes people who are born here not citizens. So normally, if you're born in the United States, you become a citizen.
That's in the Constitution,
you have
right?
rights, right? Now he's saying if your parents are illegal or if they're not citizens, then the child does not have the right to be a citizen that's born in this country.
Come on.
Yeah. Is that executive order?
He's trying to make it an executive order.
But can he do that?
Well, I thought he couldn't do a lot of things that he's done it. So, I would say he would definitely try. Whether it will hold water is a different question. But the fact that he's even considering doing something like that is sick and appalling to me. First of all, that's what our country was founded on. I mean,
it's in the Constitution.
Yeah, I mean, think of this country was founded on people who've come here from other countries.
Absolutely.
And they took the land from the people that lived here. So they came here, hit land, stuck a flag in the dirt, and said, "We just founded this."
What was that song?
And all the people that were here were like, "Huh?" So that's my issue this week.
Okay, that's a good issue. That's going to be played out for a long time to come because obviously.
Well, hopefully it won't be played out at all. Hopefully they'll squash that because
I don't think he has the pundits, the talking heads on Fox News, CNBC, CNN have said that he cannot. Even Mueller came out and said that it's impossible for that to happen. But just the fact that you said it, like you said earlier, it's an old 3-car Molly movie. You know, you're trying to look over here while we do this over there. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's that. That's another great issue. We'll see how that plays out, and we hope that. If you were born here, you're a citizen.
Right.
Why does that even have to come
Period
up?
End of story.
Period. End of story.
Right.
Yeah, my issue this week is, there's been horrific stuff going on over the last with the last show we talked about the pipe bombs being mailed to the Democrats, and then over this past week we had the mass shooting of our Jewish brothers and sisters in Pittsburgh by a crazy killer, or whatever.
A cray.
And right. But in the midst of that, excuse me, we downplayed or didn't give enough attention to, I think, the two people who were shot in the two African Americans who were shot in Kentucky at the Kroger store there.
Tell us more about that.
That particular story really was unique to me because we talk about racism. We started to do the show on racism, but that's another 5-part show. So, but these two people, Mr. Stallard and the other's name was Vicky Lee Jones. They were, first of all, this particular guy, and his last name is Bush. He went to a predominantly black church 5 minutes before he went into the Kroger. He went into this predominantly black church and tried to get in, but thank God for parking. Every good church has a parking lot, and they got some parking attendants out there, and they stopped him from getting in. So since he couldn't get in, he drove to the Kroger's and shot 2 black people. Now, and here's the funny part, not the funny part, but the very twist on it, Mike and Duran, is that, so you would think that's a hate crime, right?
It's definitely
a hate crime. Yes. But this guy, the white guy who shot these 2 people, these 2 African Americans, was married to a black woman. So how do you call that?
It's still a hate crime.
It's still a hate crime, but
yes.
So it is me. But here's the thing.
And what's even more appalling is that when the officers came to arrest him, they were white police officers. And he told them he would never shoot a white guy.
Wow, that's all I gotta say. But it didn't get as much headlines as those other 2 stories that I mentioned. And God, bless all of them, and friends, families, everything. And our heart goes out to them because those are senseless killings in the name of what? You know what I mean? So that's my issue. I think that all stories, particularly stories with African American themes, should get the same representation as the typical regular stories that dominate the news. So that's so.
Yeah, and my thing is that, and this to me, and I know some people will disagree with me, but when you have the head that's talking very divisive, that is, he puts down women, he puts down minorities, puts down anyone that speaks out against him. And it brings the cray-crays out.
Yeah.
And so they feel like they have a voice now that sits in the White House and they can do whatever they want to do.
I mean, they're willing to go in, Duran. I was asked what you think about this. It's almost like, if you look at Afghanistan and Saudi Arabia, to use Afghanistan and Iraq in particular, one of the things that they are upset with the Americans, with us, period, is that we don't come down and fight like a man. We drop bombs on them, and so that's what we do. In terms of that, and with the divisiveness that's going on, these left-wing extremists, right-wingers, whatever you want to call them, they are willing to just go in there and get shot up and take out 10, 15 black folks. You know what I mean? They're willing to die just like those suicide bombers, suicide guys in Iraq and.
But unfortunately, they don't.
Yeah.
They don't die. Yeah. They get arrested.
They arrest them
without incident, and they go to jail. They're held accountable for their acts, hopefully. But I just think that it's.
Who are we speaking of to go to jail?
I think anyone who's done these heinous crimes have been caught.
Right.
They go to jail and they are held accountable for the acts that they've done. And without incident, I mean that they're taken peacefully. They're not shot and then taken to the grave.
Right.
So, and I'm not saying that they should be shot or anything like that, but I think that it should be equally across the board. I don't think that just because you're a 12, 13-year-old kid who's larger than the average 12, 13-year-old kid, and now you're more intimidating because of your skin color than anyone else. So
what's your take?
Well, my take on that is there's any race. I mean, when you have a loss, especially like a devastating loss, like a killing or something, families suffer.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
can't go through race on that. That's one thing. I mean, I know how everyone feels because I done had losses. You've had losses.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Everyone
We've all
have.
Exactly.
But something really interesting. I try not to get on our leader, because he's the leader of our country, and we got to see him. We got to see this through. But there's something really interesting about this. No, really.
Go ahead.
One of the Paul Carberry from the Pittsburgh murders there, he was saying he didn't pull the trigger. He was speaking of Trump, but his verbiage and actions don't help. He was just talking like how divisive he was and how people are so into this race now. And the Democratic mayor from Pittsburgh, Bill Peduto, had asked Trump not to come while the city was burying his dead, which is kind of
They didn't even want him to
interesting.
come. Who doesn't
and
want the
that's
president?
the leader of our country, and that
There's
I don't know
something
whether
there.
that's disrespectful or that's just somebody that's
Well,
conscious
but I
of
think-
what's going on.
Yeah,
But I-
Probably a little bit of both. Probably a little bit of both.
And I think a lot of that also stems from his response to when it happened. He said something, and then David Duke or one of them guys said, "Oh, he's one of us," and he didn't say, "Oh, no, I'm not."
No.
If you're not associated with nationalists or KKK or the white supremacists, then say you're not.
Right.
Don't leave it up to our imagination.
Right.
Or
Don't
our
straddle the fence.
interpretation.
Make a
stand.
and make
Take
a
a
stance
stand.
that's going to unify as opposed to, like you said, to be
Divide.
divisive.
Yeah.
So let's move on because we can talk about that all day too, can't we? So let's talk about November 6th is coming up. Everybody's
Got to get out and
early
vote.
voting here in Cleveland at the Board of Elections are open until 7:00 every day this week. Get down and early vote. It's a lot easier.
Yeah, hopefully I'll be able to get down
and
there
get down
tomorrow.
and do that. They're open to 7 every day this week.
Remember issue 1.
Of course, we talked about that last week. Issue 1, exactly.
And a lot of judges and are also on the ballot. So
Do you think that, when we get back to the voting thing, it seems to be, to me, a little bit, I'm going to ask you guys on this, do you think it's more important? Does the vote even seem more important now than even when we were voting for Obama? Does it seem more important? I mean, this seems...
this is the most important election probably in our lifetime. Because the way this vote will turn out, it will affect us for hundreds and hundreds of years. Because if they have the control of both the House and the Senate, a lot of the president's agenda will get passed.
Absolutely.
And
Just for sheer numbers.
And it's a shame that our Republican brothers and sisters who stand on conservatism and they've gone so far to the left on that they'll let him do whatever he wants and act like they ignore it. They don't know it's happening, and that's crazy.
I agree with that.
They're not even taking the normal Republican stance that they usually do.
Yeah. And you talked about this earlier, and Duran, I'm sure you can attest to this as well. We talked about a president being able to go across both aisles.
Right.
You know what I mean? Now it's us and them.
Yeah.
It's have and have nots.
Yeah.
We need to do something. Life is all about connectivity. We find ridiculous reasons, whether it's in politics or in everyday life, to disconnect.
Yes.
When life is really about connectivity.
We talked about
Connectivity has nothing to do with color. It has to do with just connecting and content of character, and we lose that. And but here's another thing I want to ask you guys: do you guys think that if you don't vote, Oprah said this today when she was in Georgia backing Stacey Abrams, who's running for governor of Georgia, as we also have Gillum, who's running for governor in Florida. This will be unprecedented for a woman to be governor in Georgia and a brother
black.
to be a governor in Florida. But Oprah was saying today when she was there, she said, if you're of voting age and you do not get out and vote, you are doing a disservice and are being disrespectful to those who have come before us.
Absolutely.
Do you guys agree with that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There are people who died, who shed blood to get us the right to vote. And it's very disrespectful to our ancestors, the people who have come before us, to not exercise your right.
What do you think?
I feel the same way.
Feel the same way, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, you can't. It does change. I mean, you can't whine and moan and cry and moan if you don't take part in the process.
And I don't care who you vote for, just vote.
Just vote.
If you want to vote for that side, vote for that side. But at least exercise your right.
Yeah.
It's real important. I think that we as citizens, that's the way we have a voice.
That's true.
That's true. And if we don't exercise our right, we don't have the right to complain.
That's true. You don't have the right to complain. And so now we're moving forward. We want to encourage everybody to get out and vote on November 6th.
Go early.
Vote early at the
Matter
Board of Elections.
If you do vote early, take off Tuesday and help other people get to the polls.
That's right, Mike. Ain't that right? Yeah. Listen, you're listening. We've got issues. The call-in number is 216-298-1554 with my main guys, Duran and Mike. Let's move on. This is another small issue, and we'll just touch this for a minute.
And wait, let me throw a challenge out there too. Because,
Let's do it.
You and I are part of the Divine Nine.
Of course.
And I'm challenging all the fraternities, all the sororities, to use that day to help others get out to vote.
Absolutely.
There are a lot of people who struggle to get to the polls. This is a way that we can actually make an impact on this election. And let's get out there. Let's go to the community centers. Let's go to the senior citizens' homes. And if they need help getting to the polls, let's take them.
Let's do it, because they fought for the right for us to have to exercise it right now. A quick thing, I was talking about this today. This is a very simple issue where we can move on quickly from it. As of November 4th, we put the clocks back, right? And we spring forward. And
that's this weekend.
That's this weekend. With that being said, Arizona does not exercise that. And over the last 4 days, listeners, there have been 5 children killed in bus accidents where they were getting on the bus in Indiana, Pennsylvania, Mississippi, and Florida. Some guy or girl drove by when these kids were crossing the street and hit them, and 5 people have died with this bus thing. And it sort of made me think, when they put the clocks back, right? These kids are going to school in the dark, dude, every morning. Does that make sense?
Well, they're in the dark now, though, before the clocks change.
I'm just saying, but when you get up it's really now in the dark. I mean, in terms of that.
Yeah, because just driving to work, and I leave the house around 7 o'clock. And kids that are out there waiting on buses are out there at that time, and it's dark.
And it's going to be darker now.
It's going to be real dark now.
Yeah, and I just think that I understand the spring forward, fall back mentality, but I don't really see Arizona doesn't do it.
Why do we do it?
Other countries don't do it.
I've never seen a reason in myself. I mean, I tried my best to make sense of it, but I'm saying if you're going to go back and forth, you're going to go back to next year and.
Yeah, I got a little issue with it. I don't know how I feel about it. I just want to throw that out there for you guys. That's all.
I just don't understand the concept. Maybe that's what it is. I try my best.
But if you're a young child and you're sending your kid out with all this stuff out there, whether it's pedophiles and people snatching people and all that kind of madness going on in the world, right? And even in our city, I want my kids to go out in broad daylight. You know what I mean? I want them to go out in broad daylight. You know what I mean? As opposed to that. So I just want to throw that out there and see what you guys throw.
Or at least be out there with your kids. Yeah. Have some representative.
Good point.
I think that's better for the younger kids.
But that extra hour of sleep doesn't hurt us, does it, brother? It doesn't hurt us.
Not at all.
Doesn't hurt.
And I think that's fake too. I don't think we really get an extra hour, because usually if we're out, we stay out an extra hour. So we don't really get that
you don't
extra
get it,
hour.
Right, exactly. So we got some issues with that, people. Again, 216-298-1554. Let's keep it moving. I wanted to ask you guys about 2 things. One, and this is an issue that we can't really lose sight of, but it is something that we sort of push to the side. And I wanted to ask you about this whole thing with the guns. And what I mean by that is there was on 78th and Broadway here in Cleveland, a few days ago. Two people came into this guy's house where he was there with his wife and his daughter. And they came into the house and they were drawing weapons into the house. They kicked the door down and came in and shooting. The guy killed one of the guys. One of the guys who barged in the door shot his wife in the stomach. Now, this has happened a few days ago. And I'm just thinking to myself, I'm saying, you know, when someone comes into your house, we don't have that, what do they call it, stand your ground law here in Ohio. We have the castle doctrine, which means you can pump them full of bullets as well. Did you guys know anything about that castle doctrine?
As long as they're in the house. Well, my understanding was that if someone comes into your house and you don't have a way of getting out,
Okay.
then you have to try to escape. But if you don't have an escape route, in other words, your life is in danger because you can't get away, then you can pump them full of lead.
So this guy was not charged. Just so we know, you haven't heard about it. The guy was not charged. Right. On the other hand, though, I'm thinking, like you just said, Mike, that's a great point. So let's just say hypothetically, you have your wife, your girlfriend, kid right there. They're upstairs. She goes, go downstairs. You hear something? You go downstairs. And so should you run out the house first, or should you go back upstairs and get your kids?
Well, I'm not going to run out and leave my wife and kids in the house with the cray-cray.
Exactly.
No, he got to go.
He got to go. Right. So he got to go. So,
right.
But they call it the castle doctrine here in Ohio, and they call it stand your ground other places, and I just thought that was an interesting issue.
Well, is it specifically geared towards breaking into your own home, where stand your ground is like you're on the street.
Right. Somebody
you feel intimidated, you can stand your ground.
Which is ridiculous. That's like stop and frisk
right.
to me. That's another crazy thing.
Yeah.
But I want to see what you guys thought about that, because this brother was like, look, if I had to do over, I'd do it again. You shot my wife in the stomach and broke through my house. You know what I mean?
Right.
And turns out they went into the wrong home to begin with.
Right.
So come on now. Anybody break into your house, you're going to defend your property, right? You're going to defend yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I just want to see what you guys thought about that.
I hate to think like that, but usually when things like that happen, it's something a little deeper than somebody just want to break in your house and rob you.
Yeah.
I was on YouTube the other day and was watching police officers go into a guy's house. He asked for a warrant. They did not give him one. And they proceeded to search all over his house while he's filming them and saying, hey, get out my house. Right. Or give me a warrant. Produce a warrant or get out my house. Right. And they, went down in the basement, came back up.
Searched with a fine-tooth comb.
Right.
Get out. See?
And
that
then,
makes no sense.
And then kind of threatened him to get the camera out of his face.
Where was this at?
I forget what city it was in, but it was...
any American city that you could think of. It happens every day, But that's a good point, Mike. That's a very good point. And on a lighter note, as we come upon the holidays, and I know we've been doing a top 5, Mike and Duran, and Mike has been taking us to the cleaners the last few weeks on this top 5. We usually save...
And I'm going to get y'all again this week.
we are all very ardent, avid sports fans, so we left that over with Mike. But I have, as we come upon the holiday season, and Halloween was just yesterday, I wanted to just take a moment and ask you two guys, what is your favorite holiday?
Probably Thanksgiving for me.
Thanksgiving? Okay.
Yeah. Just, being around family, eating good, football's on.
You just clinched it, Thanksgiving.
Yeah, Christmas is cool because you get gifts, but,
right.
I think Christmas has lost its meaning,
Right.
And it's very commercialized. It's all about buying, spending.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And then come January, you're looking at your bills and you're like, what did I do?
Hey, listen, they know Thanksgiving is excellent, Mike. I agree with both of you guys, because guess what happens the day after Thanksgiving, dude? Black Friday. On Thursday, Black Friday. Let's go shopping.
That's right. That's right.
But my favorite holiday
do
is
you
also
do Black Friday?
Right now with the online game going, probably no.
You get the same deals online.
Yeah, exactly.
You can do it from the comfort of your home.
Amazon's going to be rich.
Yeah, I asked.
They already are.
I know, Mike. Several years ago, I was listening to one of our shows from years ago, and we asked that same question. People were calling in, and the lady was like, "My favorite holiday is my birthday." I never thought about that. Your birthday is a holiday to us, right?
It's not an holiday.
It's not.
It's just a day.
I know that's what we said when we did the show. But
Right.
so let's keep it going. What's the set? So you have. Here's my two. Thanksgiving and New Year's, because New Year's it starts things anew. That's just me. What's your second favorite holiday?
My second favorite holiday.
Christmas or Labor Day or 4th of July, Memorial Day? I don't know.
I don't know. I would say Labor Day just because it's
You're off?
another
'Cause
time you
you're
can
off?
spend with your, that too. But it's another day you can spend with your family, and you could go out on these outings with your family. Like some people do the cabins and everything. Just little things that you can remember on Labor Days, and that's when the weather is pretty decent. You can still feel the outdoors and enjoy your family.
I agree. But Mike, you said something earlier.
Mine's 4th of July.
4th of July, yes. Fireworks.
That was
You got hot. It's hot.
Yeah,
hot.
Fireworks.
Fireworks, right.
Beaches available if you're
Beaches,
by
right,
water.
Right, yeah.
If you're not, you can go to the beach.
Yes, yes,
I
yes.
just can't stand that heat. That's why I didn't
You
say
know,
the 4th of July.
man, I love the heat,
I will
man.
say this. So what do you guys? The 4th of July was right there with me for Thanksgiving. Not right there, but a distant second. I want to tell you something, guys. In some of these neighborhoods, you don't even need to go see fireworks, bro. They got fireworks right on the street. That I do not disagree with. It sounds like bombs going off in some of these
Right.
neighborhoods.
Oh,
You
yeah.
guys agree with that?
Only thing I don't like around that time is those M80s.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Bombs going
And I
off.
think they got bigger.
It's
They got
dangerous for
ones
little
bigger
kids.
than them 80s now, don't
Right.
they?
Yeah.
Because some of those stuff, I thought it was we being invaded.
I was in Iraq. I didn't hear nothing that loud. So yeah. That's interesting. So Thanksgiving, like just to close out to move on. Thanksgiving to me, like you said earlier, Mike, you got family and friends. We do have football, but it's not pretentious. It's right. It's people get together not to celebrate a good meal, to celebrate friends and family, and that's what I think holidays are all about anyway.
Yeah.
But I was going to ask you guys that.
Yeah, I'm already planning my Thanksgiving this year because I just spent money to get a ticket to go to North Carolina.
Just so you guys don't know,
Be
Mike's
around
sisters and
my
mom,
sisters,
yeah, exactly.
Some good eating.
Right,
you know.
right. Hey, listen, last Thanksgiving, Mike sent me a picture, and I'm talking, forget home-style buffet, forget the buffet at the casino. Mike, your sister sent it out on Thanksgiving, didn't they?
Hey, they do it every year.
And they
too,
make
man.
Mike makes a great peach cobbler, right? So what'd you take, peach cobbler down
I
there?
think I made one, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Thanksgiving, it's a great time, and if you come up on that, that is my favorite holiday, So let's move on from that. So since you had your top 5 of sports, I thought I'd throw in some holidays. Let me just
Okay,
get that
all
in
right,
there.
I'm with that.
All right, so let's move on a little bit further. I wanted to also ask you guys, what do you think about, how should I play this? How should I say this and just say it? Okay, I'll just say it this way. I'm thinking, I'm talking about, I want to tell, we were talking about, I have issues sometimes with the object of just the advertising and the flow of things to buy all the time. So when you're watching TV, it's a commercial. Listen, I know when my mom, for example, Mom, I know you're listening. My mom sees someone, she's like, oh, I got to go to Walmart. I got to go to Applebee's. I got to go to Fridays. Like, they shop around what they see as the commercials. And it just freaks me out a little because when we were growing up, man, we weren't watching TV. We were going down there. We're just going to the mall. We stopped at J. Riggins or Diamonds or somewhere, you know what I mean, Milan or whatever.
Right.
But they got you going now, man. They got you. These commercials are out of control, and I got issues with them. Listen, when we did the average sitcom, like Blackish will say, is 22 minutes. They got 8 minutes of commercials. And I'm just telling you right now, it is always something. I'm finding myself like, man, you know what? I might need to get that foot massager. My feet hurt. I might need to get that, whatever. Do you think it's a lot? Do you think that commercial aspect of it is? I've had a little bit of issue with that. What do you guys think of that?
It's designed to make us spend money.
Yeah.
So
To separate us from our money,
yeah,
ain't that?
to combat that, I get up and do things during
Right,
commercial break.
right, exactly.
I
Right.
don't need to watch all that.
Right, exactly. Hey, man, listen, I know it may not just be me, and if you're listening to the show, I love BET and all that, but BET has more commercials than any other network I've ever seen. But it's just, I just thought that
It's
was
a lot of them, though, man.
Yeah,
Like,
it is,
a lot
isn't
of those like FX, the
Oh my goodness.
AMC, BT,
Oh my
TNT.
goodness. I mean, we are bombarded
Oh my
with
God,
commercials.
they have commercials
man. I mean, I'm
galore.
in the video production business, so that's it. But it's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
I don't went and went to the bathroom,
Came back,
fixed the plate,
fixed the plate,
heated it up,
right?
came back,
right.
and it's still
It's
commercial.
still commercials. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I have issue with that, and as we approach the holiday season, and we both love football. Let's keep it real, guys.
Yeah.
When the Super Bowl happens, how much do commercials cost?
Millions
For 30. So we're
for
not
a
alone.
little bit of time.
For a little bit of
Yeah.
time,
time.
I went the other day. I was watching a movie and the commercial came on. I went out and got a pickup game of 33. Came back in, the commercial was still on.
Right.
You know,
Right, when it got your car wash,
Right.
got the car wash, got a detail,
Detailed up.
got a haircut, came back and there was still 5 more commercials. So, I just mentioned that guy just as on a lighter note because we do have issues with that. And at the end of the day, get to the content. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And lastly, anything that you say or learn or do 8 times, it becomes long-term memory. That's why there's not 1 700 numbers or 1 600 numbers. There's 1 800 numbers because it goes to long-term memory. I'm watching BT, man. I saw a McDonald's commercial 8 times. We went to McDonald's the next day. I was just like a drone going to McDonald's because,
almost,
8 times is long-term memory.
It almost becomes that way where you're so programmed.
I'm loving it. You know what I
on
mean?
These commercials that you pass that McDonald's, you're pulling in.
Right. So it's just I just want to touch on that. So any other issues you guys want to throw out there?
So yes, let me go back to our Agent Orange.
Okay. I can't get enough of Donald Trump.
So we know that there's you mentioned earlier Stacey Abrams and Andrew Gillum.
Yes.
Florida A&M grad. Shout out to HBCU.
All right,
grad.
HBCUs, you know what it is. Historically black colleges and
But
universities.
our president called him an outright thief.
Please explain that for
So he's campaigning, obviously, for the other guy. I
Right.
think his name is
Knucklehead.
DeSantis.
Yeah, DeSantis. Yeah.
And he just, I don't know, if the media did that and called, someone an outright thief with no evidence or facts to back it up, then I think that people would have an issue with that.
There's no doubt about it.
And I don't understand why our president can get away with some of the things that he does in Twitter, in the Twitter universe, and what things that come out of his mouth when he's ad-libbing. And at what point do we stop holding people accountable for what they say and what they do?
Wow.
I just don't
Wow.
understand. I mean, I'm held accountable every day.
Every day.
If I say something sideways out my mouth and I'm at work, people are going to look at me crazy and I may lose my job.
Exactly.
So I have to be careful with what I do and with what I say. How come our POTUS is not held to the same standards?
Listen, when that brother said, when Agent Orange said, let's grab them by the...
Right.
And he had me right there. That was before he even won. He was the
Right.
gangster right there, which is ridiculous to me. So held accountable is absolutely right.
And not only that, but then he talked about his own side. He talked
Right.
about John McCain, a war hero. And talked about the reporter who had, she was handicapped. And
Right.
He talked
She's like,
about,
he did
right,
that. Yeah,
he did
yeah.
that. I mean,
It's horrible.
It's horrible.
It's just flat out horrible. Do you think that, this guy's doing 10 rallies in the next 5 days campaigning for these Republicans who are running for office? Now I wanted to touch base with you guys on this, and Mike, this is right in alignment with what you were just saying about being accountable. A lot of stuff is going on with the hurricanes that hit in Florida. And that was a trail of destruction that just Michael or whatever it was, that hurricane.
Hurricane who?
Michael.
Oh,
yeah, whatever.
yes.
Just a hurricane. At any rate, he goes to Pittsburgh where 11 people died. Shouldn't you be down there with those people? If I'm president, I'm going to where I am needed most.
Or at least to, if not be able to do anything at that moment, at least people will say we have some hope because our president knows that we're down
And he's
here
not just
and
throwing
we're
out paper
going
towels,
through it.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right.
Duran, what's your take on that?
Every time we go back and forth with this, but I'm saying, what is the job of the advisors? Don't they tell them, well, it's a poor public relations?
Right, but if I agree with your advisors are Larry,
I mean,
Curly, and Mo. I mean,
No.
Because evidently, I don't
It's a
think.
great point.
I think it's more of ignorance than it is. I'm not calling
But-
him. I'm just saying
Mm-hmm.
rather than just him just outright. And it may be a little insensitive. But
little?
should you have advisors to say, well, you
And
don't
he has
say
those.
this,
He has them.
You don't do
But
it.
if
It'll
your
be
advisors
better
are
if you do
yes
that.
men,
I can advise all day long, but if I'm not, if the person that I'm advising is not willing to follow my advice, then what do we have? Agent 45.
Age of 45, yeah. You know, and this guy's actually
I
playing.
tell you
for
what, it is
2020.
something different. I never really went through this. And
I
seen
know.
this.
Yeah, and this guy's still got 2 years left.
Oh.
Oh my goodness. I mean, it's shocking. It's hurtful. It's
It's called
disrespectful.
Nightmare on America
Right.
Street.
I like that. On the little Halloween Nightmare in America. You know, I guess, Duran, I want to say to you and Mike, and we said this before, is this the best we could do in putting that guy on? Is he the best representation of us?
I would hope not.
Well, can you look farther and see who would be a better candidate after him? I
Yeah.
mean, because I remember
After him or-
well, I'm just saying, just say if
Instead of him?
Instead of him, I
okay,
could shoot.
instead of him.
Yeah.
Okay.
I get- Hugh Jackson
when
could have
he
been
was being
president.
elected. I know it was you were hard pressed to find a. I mean, who would you vote for here? Who would you vote for here, there?
Yeah, they don't put any great people in front of us. It's just like, that's a no-brainer unless it's
Right,
Obama.
it's hard. I mean, that's not. I mean, that's nothing. That, all I can say, we should pray for him to do better. Maybe he'll
Well,
do better. I mean,
I think you make a good point. I think that sometimes the candidates that are running, it's like picking between a rock and a hard place. You know,
Wow, yeah,
and
that's good. Yeah,
but
good point.
You know, I still think that you have to go when it comes down to a rock and a hard place, you go to the better option.
okay.
And whether that better option is who's more presidential, who can act the part until he learns the part.
Fake it till you make it. Yeah.
who can and I think you vote that way.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You
That's
know,
a very good point.
I think that as politicians come and go, I think there's a lot of negative things that can be said about politicians, and there's also some positive things.
Exactly.
But I think you have to be held at some point. You have to have some standards to hold that position.
Do you think that, would you consider Donald Trump a spiritual person?
No.
When you say spiritual,
I mean, is he acting in the best interest? Is you know what I mean? I'm just asking. Spiritual is whatever your definition of spirituality is. Do you think he's a spiritual person and acting in a spiritual way?
no,
Okay,
Oh, no, I don't think.
that man has a set
I
from the
don't
church.
think not
since
in
he's
my
been office.
definition of spiritual.
Right.
But if you think of spirituality as the love of money, then I think that he's very spiritual.
He's very spiritual in that regard, right? And
Like,
God we
I
trust.
did mention, sometimes when we talk about all the bad stuff, you have to talk about the good too.
You have
So
to, you have
he is
to.
a good businessman, and he has, like I said, he put tariffs
Our
on that
401ks
steel.
have went up, right?
Oh, yes,
Our
it
401ks
is.
have
That
been around
401k,
under Trump.
I tell
That's
you
true.
what, you smile when you look at that 401k.
Right.
This guy really,
So
But it's not worth it.
he's a
But-
good
but-
businessman, I'll tell you that.
Well, so what constitutes your definition of good businessman?
businessman, yes.
One that files bankruptcy several times?
Right,
Well,
and
okay, but that was before.
Before what? He's never. I mean, he's
right.
he's been a slumlord.
slumlord.
he's been
Personally, eviscerated Atlantic City. It's nothing
Right.
now. He's eviscerated.
Right.
Atlantic
I mean-
City is just a museum of empty buildings now.
So-
I would say he has been kind of a little insensitive at times, but as far as the business aspect and the money, to bring, I don't know about that make America great again, but I know about the money.
So tell me
aspect.
what he
First
has
of all-
done so that you consider him a great businessman.
Well, I think the deficit is starting to. It's not.
We had other shows. We had
farther
shows. We had shows. We are.
The deficit was
it's
our,
trillions of dollars in
Yeah,
deficit.
it was trillions, but it's It's
But-
not going like a runaway freight train like it has.
And that's because of, now I agree that he has done some things to keep some policies that were set in place before he got in office.
Well, that's
He hasn't turned that back. And I think that the what you're speaking on started during the Obama administration.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah,
some of the
it
things that he
started-
put in place.
Yes.
And let's not forget where Obama started from, where it was a train wreck, and we were
Man, well,
and we were headed off a
yeah,
cliff.
Mike, when we
Right.
covered that show,
Right.
and he
Bad.
bailed out Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, the housing industry, bailed out AIG. How can an insurance?
He bailed out the banks. He
how
bailed
can
out the auto industry.
The biggest one was the insurance. How can the insurance industry go broke? I mean, if you really break this down, think about it. We pay insurance for 40, 50 years, nothing happens. You don't get your money back. Right? So that's a lot of people that like that. So
Believe me, I could
a
attest to
train
that.
wreck he inherited.
Insurance.
He inherited the train
inherited
wreck. You're
that,
right.
yeah.
You're right.
And he
Well,
brought us back from the depths of hell.
Well, yeah.
They put Obama in there because they knew no white dude could do.
He did
Yeah.
good. He did good. But I'm saying, like, a lot of times we say, well, he's doing this or whatever. But
I think
you
he's.
gotta sometimes I look at the good side of things.
Well, I think
too. I'm not gonna look at all bad.
and I'll give him credit for not ruining everything yet. With
Everything yet,
what
you say?
with what? Well, he's trying to
I give
appeal
him credit
everything
for
that
one thing
Obama
he
has
done.
put into place, and so as of right now, some of the things that President Obama put into place are still in effect.
Still in effect.
And he hasn't been able to repeal
And I
those
like
things.
that fact also.
And because of that, our economy, our unemployment, those things have been holding stable or decreasing
All of his
at
all
the
of his
same
breaks
rate
have come to.
or
Mike, what do you
better.
think? Don't you think all of his breaks have come for corporate America and for the 1%, the wealthiest? That's what's happening.
Right.
You know, in terms of
I'm
that.
just trying to get into the 1% so I can get some of them breaks too.
I know, right? So let's move. When you went back, that's an issue. Like I said, you said when I said, are there any other issues you want to go to? We could go to that for the rest of the show. But I want to go off this Oprah quote today that she said with Stacey Abrams, and she said she talked about what we talked about earlier, that it's disrespectful. For as long as us as a people got the opportunity to vote, to not vote. She said that also. She also said, I'm down here to see Stacey Abrams, and I paid my own way. I'm here. They didn't do anything for me. I came down here to support her. But then she said something that I thought was two quotes from Oprah today. One was, do we have any power against injustices? And what she was talking about is, we march till we're blue in the face. Is there going to be some change? So that's why she was there, because there can be change. But the last thing I heard from her was, this land was made for you and me. We all remember that song.
Right.
This land is your land.
Yeah.
This land was made, she said, to us, she goes, I'm telling everybody here in the earshot of my voice and everybody listening, that's not just a song, it is the truth. So what do you guys think about that statement, that this land was made for you and me?
I like to believe that it's true. I just haven't seen evidence of it being true.
Okay.
Well, why? I mean, what I think I can give a reason. I just don't think we have enough leaders that care and could do anything about the situation at hand right now.
That's a good point.
And it's
Yeah,
hard
but-
for me. And I hate to just keep saying black leaders, because everyone in this country is,
Mm-hmm.
it's more like the have and the have-nots.
Yeah, but
It's that-
and that song says this land is made for you and me. We're not. We didn't. That song didn't break it down to
And colors.
race.
They're making it down to
It
race.
said for you and me. That includes
Right.
everybody.
And that's the way it should be.
And that's what she said. She said it's not just a song, it is
But
the truth. That's
Just
what she
like you
said.
have, okay, you could say Trump could be divisive in a way. We have some of our black leaders that's just as divisive.
No doubt.
I can go down the line.
No doubt. I mean,
And
I think you
some
can
of them
go.
I don't agree with either.
But I think you can go with any race and find divisiveness.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree with that. I agree with that wholeheartedly.
But just because you can doesn't make it right.
Right.
And it doesn't make it equal.
And
Right.
we were
And
talking
so-
about that last week. We were talking about how at least we could come on common ground for the good of the American people, how the presidents from both races,
Yep.
Republicans, Democrats, at the end of the day, they
For
can
the
shake
common
hands
good.
and help.
Right.
You
And
know,
listen.
it's not like that, like you said, Don.
And let me say this.
Divided. They
Yeah.
getting wired.
And let me say this. I
absolutely.
give
That's a
I
great point,
give
Duran.
the
Great
president a hard time because I think he should be held accountable for some of the things that he says and does. I would love it if he could stand up, be a president of all people in this country and not just a few. You know,
Man,
and if he could
man.
do that, I would give him all the honor. I would give him praise. I would say that he's doing a great job. But until he does that, I'm gonna hold him accountable for what he says and does.
Call him to the mat,
You
Mike.
know?
That's right. We got issues with that.
fine.
We got issues with that. We got issues with that. Okay, so here, let's talk about this. We're always talking about remember the Me Too movement? We all know the most number one thing on the internet. We're talking about the internet for your cell phones, right? The number one search engine is Google, right? You heard what happened at Google today, right?
No.
A massive walkout of thousands of their employees walked out in Google protesting sexual harassment by upper level management and management in general. Okay, so huge walkout, and most of the people that walked out were guys. Now here's my point. Right, so the one guy that was like the Harvey Weinstein, if you will, or the I hate to say it, or the Bill Cosby, if you will. Okay, I got to keep it real. Or the Donald Trump, if you will. Okay, is that
You
good?
went too far, but
okay,
go
I went too
ahead.
far. Okay. I got issues. I got issues. I got issues, guys. So they took the guy from Google, and guess how? They fired him, but guess how much they paid him to go away? $90 million.
What?
90 million. His name is Andy Rubin. He was paid $90 million today to walk away from Google, as opposed to blowing him up with the sexual harassment. Listen, that's an amazing amount of money to be accused of sexual harassment at Google, and they're like, look, man, we know you did it, but take this $90 million and get on out of here. Does that make sense?
Not at all.
That's crazy, isn't it?
I got to go to Bing now.
So then over the last 2 years, 48 employees have been fired from Google for sexual harassment, and 13 of them were senior managers making more than $16 million a year. So it's really a trickle down thing in terms of that. That's in the wrong business, isn't it?
Right.
I mean, that's the wrong. $90 million, you just get fired. You're like, can you send me my last check?
Yeah. Well,
Can I get my vacation, severance pay, whatever?
So speaking of fired, you know,
Y'all know where you're going.
you know, I'm here locally in the land, Cleveland, Ohio, heart of it all, and it's been a tumultuous week in the land for sports.
Oh, we're going to that right next. There you go. Go ahead.
I mean,
Very hurtful.
Bring it.
The Ohio players said it best. Fired.
Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom. That's right. When you walk, hit that door.
If your name rhymes with Sue, Lou, and Hugh, it's bye-bye.
Oh my goodness! Hey, that was great, dude. That was very good, Mikey. Very
If
good.
your
That was
name
excellent.
rhymes, you don't get a shot in Cleveland,
They got
buddy.
How do you feel
fired.
about those firings, though, Mike and Don? Come
Listen,
on.
let us hear your take.
Yeah,
I'm
then
like
I'll
this.
tell you
Nah,
mine.
nah, nah, nah. Hey, goodbye. That's
Well,
how I feel.
I don't like it.
I
You don't like
either.
it? Okay, you're our sports guy. Let him have it. Let him
Go
have
ahead.
it. Go ahead,
I'm gonna
Duran.
tell you. I'm gonna give you the reason why I don't like it.
Yes, sir.
People are elated that Hughes fired for the Browns. Okay.
Okay.
You go
336
back.
and 1. 336 and 1.
Okay.
Just now, I'm talking about his record.
Don't count 2 of those years because he didn't have nothing. He had them competitive. I'm just saying, 2 of those years they wasn't winning, but he had them
It
on the
was the
same
reason
field
why.
with. Yeah, it was just rebuilding seasons.
Well,
okay.
no, it was not only rebuilding, but they stripped the team,
The
of all their
of
playmakers.
Exactly.
the veteran players. Okay,
Okay,
now
go ahead.
you finally get into the year where you got some playmakers.
Yes.
You got a few players on your team. Okay, we didn't have.
Let's see
depth
what he can do,
because
right?
It shows. Let's see what he could do. Okay.
Yeah, I'm
We
with you
got
on that.
cheated out of 2 or 3 of those games.
Right,
Okay.
We could be like 5-2, and we should be.
and let's not
We
forget.
missed a lot of field goals.
Let's not forget our kickers.
Oh yeah, that's where I'm getting at.
Yeah.
2 of those games we were supposed to win because of field goals. Hugh Jackson is not out there kicking those field goals.
So you're saying he should not have got
No,
fired.
because that set us back 2 more years. I'm sorry.
Okay. So let me.
And here's the thing: they not only fired Hugh, but they fired our offensive coordinator.
yeah.
too.
He had an
Yeah,
offensive
yeah.
coordinator. Now something's wrong with that picture.
They just brought him
What's wrong
in.
with it? What's wrong with it?
Okay, you get rid of a person who's been with you through hard knocks.
Okay.
A running back, Hyde, Carlos Hyde.
I like Carlos
Now
Hyde,
it's
man.
about to get cold out here. You need that big back for them 3-4
From
yards.
Akron
that hurt
Bookto,
you.
baby. OHIO.
Oh yeah,
Right.
from OHIO.
And my thing with that though
That
is
just
that
deflated.
But
Okay.
but I'll give them a half pass because Chubb is playing outstanding ball. Now, if he gets hurt, we're done.
I don't even
And
know
that's
who the
my
back is.
problem.
Yeah.
It hurts our depth.
Yeah. Okay. Good point.
Chubb is playing outstanding ball. He's a long distance. He's a different kind of running back.
He's not
I
a
don't know. I
third
think
and two
he's
guy.
every-
He's not a third and
He's
two.
big and strong, and he can break tackles.
And I
he
think
can
he's
run.
an
He
every
can take it
down
the
back.
distance.
He's an every down back.
And when it gets cold and that snow gets on the ground, you done played out here in the stuff, man. We have all
So
of
you
us
disagree
have.
with the Chubb
You
move,
need
the
that
high
big
move.
quarter horse like a Mac or somebody that's going to move those chains, those 4 and 3 yards to hurt you.
I think
Chubb's going to get met at the line by some of those linemen. And
I
he's
think
not gonna
Chubb
get
can do
past.
it.
Okay, yeah, but Chubb is on the long run. He can do it. Okay, now I'm gonna get off of that running
All
back.
right.
Okay.
Okay, now you have injuries. You got
No wideouts.
no depth, no wideouts. You got one go-to guy, and they covering him.
You got two with Njoku, and they cover
And a
both of them.
patchwork offensive line with
Right.
a rookie Harrison, who's trying to hold his own. I seen him; he had to basically grab this guy from killing Mayfield.
Yeah.
I mean, but he's getting holding penalties. We got a patchwork offensive line, so all of that on the field. You cannot block. You cannot kick a field goal.
And let's not forget the biggest thing. We have a rookie quarterback
Yeah, no rookie.
who defenses
I
are
don't care how
catching
good
up
he
with.
is. Yeah, but he hasn't been in certain situations
Right.
yet.
Right.
I mean,
We've been getting some calling. I don't know if the line is working because people are calling me trying they can't get in. But anyway, again, the number is 216-298-1554. Go ahead, Duran. Finish up. Go ahead.
okay,
So,
I'm gonna just finish up real quick.
Go ahead, take your time.
So I think we've been set back by the coach by firing.
you said 2 years just a moment ago.
Oh yeah, we've been set back 2 years. I'm telling you because you got a whole different person you got to listen to, and when things
But
start
isn't
going wrong,
the-
what you going to just get under fire this next coach? When
But
you lose
isn't
a
this
few
guy,
games?
the guy that they got doing the offensive, well, you got Williams. Williams definitely got to keep his job because our defense is off the
Oh, yeah.
chain.
Oh, yeah.
You agree with that?
Oh yeah,
The defense is really no. they lead the NFL in takeaways.
yeah.
And how many points we give up to Oakland?
That ain't got nothing to do with the defense, though. I mean, it does. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Now that was our offense giving the ball over to them like three
All
or
right,
three
all
times. in our own
right. We gave up
territory.
40-some points.
Well,
I don't care.
3 of
I
those
don't care.
touchdowns went to the offense. They
So we
it
gave
to
up
them
20-something points.
Some to you. So
And then how many did we give up to Pittsburgh?
we've got a caller. Thanks for calling in to We've Got Issues.
Hello, caller. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, this is Barbara.
Oh, that's my mom. That's my mom. Hey, Mom, how you doing? Welcome to the show.
Hi, good. And sorry to be calling so late. I wasn't able to catch. I can't see you guys. But I was just calling in to say whatever you were talking about. I know it was a good topic for the issues. I will be prepared to talk whatever you're going to be saying about next week.
Okay,
All right,
great.
all right,
Well,
all right.
we're gonna go over that show with you and make sure that you're a viable part of the next show because we'll be talking about the elections. Obviously, the elections will be over as of next Tuesday. So when we go on the air on my birthday, by the way, November 8th.
Well, the only thing I have to say about get out to tell everybody that's listening, get out and vote and vote and vote. Cast your vote, please.
If you vote
Yes.
for American Idol and The Voice, you can definitely vote. That's right.
Exactly. I'm like James Brown. Please.
Oh, that's excellent, Mom. That's excellent. Excellent. Listen, thank you so much for calling into the show tonight. And we're going to make sure we get that message out to get out and vote. And what did she just say, y'all? Please,
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 please.
please. All right, Mom, thank you so much for calling in.
Thanks
We
for
appreciate
calling.
it. We love you.
Mama Ball's on the
Love
line.
you all too. And
All right.
if you don't have anything else to do, parlay.
Get out and vote. All right. Thank you, Mom. All right, so Duran,
Okay, love you
I
guys.
love you and thank you very much. We appreciate
Thank
it,
you.
Mom. That's my
So-
mom calling in. Go ahead.
So a few more minutes on the show. It wouldn't be right if I ain't throw out the top 5 to y'all.
Oh, but hold on. I want to hear Teron Lou, man. Give me on Teron Lou first.
Oh,
Finish the cast.
okay.
It's
All right.
8:52. We got 8 minutes or close to it. We got 3 minutes for Teron Lou, right? 2, 3
Teron
minutes.
Lou, good guy, had to go though because he was in this little thing where he watched our team win a championship. He watched LeBron. He didn't.
What do you
he was
mean?
a little laid back when I say watch. He was a little laid back, and he let him kind of, go
okay.
the course.
So-
Okay.
Because they needed that kind of coach with that rapper with LeBron.
They were
to
40
win.
and 11 when David Black coached that team. They were 40 and 11,
Yes.
number one in the conference with Kyrie out for the whole summer for that winter. My point I'm making is that you're right about that because how do you fire a guy that's 40 and 11 and they brought in Tyronn Lue and they went to 4 straight championships. So he wasn't, but he was the right coach.
But you see what you lost when you lost David Black. You lost defense. He could coach younger players, and he had Timo was playing better under David Black, and that's a 7'2".
Well, he's used to
And I know
coaching those guys
right,
overseas.
exactly. I don't care if you're a guard or a small forward. You driving to the basket. There's
Where's
someone
David?
7'2" in the
Where's
middle.
David Black now?
Over in Turkey somewhere.
Yeah, he's-
Exactly.
Yeah.
But how can you argue with a guy, Duran, that took us to 4 straight championships?
He had to have something to do.
He had to have
so
something.
here's my question
That's
to you.
hard to get up for.
Here's
you
my
know what I mean?
question to you. Tyronn Lue, Steve Kerr. If Steve Kerr would have been here, would he have been fired?
That's
Okay.
I think so. Yeah.
Because if
sports guys
Tyronn
LeBron
Lue,
on the team.
if Tyronn Lue was in Golden State, he still have a job because they won
Well,
championships.
yes, because he
But
don't
if
have
Steve,
to coach there.
but if Steve Kerr has gone to 4 straight championships with the Cavs and the cast of players that they had, would he have been fired?
If LeBron left, yes, he would have, because I don't think he could have got no more out of the team that Tyronn Lue got.
Okay.
I think
so-
you need a different kind of coach
To get
coach
more
this
out
young-
of what we have? What do we have?
Yes.
All right,
We
got-
have a young team who has some talent.
You're on the Cavs.
You know what-
they have. Okay,
You're talking about the talent
I
that's-
disagree. You got
we're gonna
Tristan
be a
Thompson.
lottery pick.
Right. You got but you got Tristan Thompson, J.R. Smith. You
Yeah,
got the whole
Love.
coaching staff, and you got Kevin Love.
got Love,
and
and you
all
got-
of those guys are They're NBA champs, so they have that pedigree. Now,
And Drew is a good. He's coached before.
Okay,
He's
okay.
a pretty good coach.
But he has beef too because they won't give him a
Well, right,
contract.
they don't.
he's won one
snowball
game, but
him.
I'll tell you this,
Hey,
man. Larry Drew was a beast kid when he played, man. He was a defensive machine. He was.
And so he went to Milwaukee as an interim coach.
Right.
Got those guys in position to make the playoffs. If I think they made the playoffs that year as an 8th seed.
Yeah, they did. They did.
At the end of the year, he waited for the contract to, he showed what he could do. At the end of the year, they
didn't
fired
give it
him. They let him go and brought in the point guard,
Jason Kidd.
Jason Kidd.
So they give him a contract.
So in
Mike?
his defense, he's like,
This is the
I'm
second
not
time for
doing
him.
the interim coach again
Right.
without a contract.
That makes sense.
And they need to give him one.
Okay, that.
And don't get me wrong, Lou is not a bad coach, but for the situation at hand now, they need a more in your.
But how do we know that?
Okay.
How do we know what kind of coach he was with a young team when he hasn't had one?
All right. That's a great point.
Well, it'll take him a long
right, I
time
got-
because he's a little more laid back. than
Okay,
Drew.
I've got one question. We got 4 minutes left on the show. I've got one question. The last one, not a question, but observant. This is something I observed and heard about. Do you know that the last 3 coaches the Browns have fired, they fired them the second Pittsburgh game?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
That's crazy. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Most of them.
Yeah, and that second Pittsburgh game, dude, they fired who was it? Mangini and the other guy,
Patton and
then even Romeo Crennel. That second Pittsburgh
How
game.
much? We only have a few minutes. Top 5.
Yeah, we got to do.
All right,
the
Mike,
top
take us to the top
linebackers
5. Take
now.
us to the
Top 5.
What's your top 5, Mike?
Top 5 linebackers all time NFL.
Right.
Tough
Top
one. It's a
5
tough one.
linebackers NFL.
I mean, you got people like Lawrence Taylor, Junior Seau,
Well, you just said the best. and the top
Nick
one.
Buoniconti, Singletary. I mean, the list goes on and on. It's been so many great ones.
Okay.
Even some current ones like the boy in Denver, Von Miller, who's kind of like linebacker DN. My best ever
Give us
is
your top-
Lawrence Taylor.
Lawrence Taylor. Okay.
Yeah.
He does.
I agree.
He does have more sacks than any other linebacker in NFL history. So let's
And
give
he
him
changed
that.
the
He
game.
changed
Okay.
the whole game.
Explain that. How do you change the game?
Offensive tackles get paid because of Lawrence Taylor.
Exactly.
They get paid
yeah.
well
when they
now.
start having that protect backside.
Right.
Taylor.
And he still has people who wake up in nightmares when you mention his name.
That's funny.
Sweating.
This guy's 6'4", 250, run
Okay.
4.5 40.
All right, with 3 minutes left on the show, what's your top 5 linebackers then?
Whew, I had a hard time, but I had to go with Lawrence Taylor.
Okay, that's number 1.
Yes.
Okay.
Man, Buckus.
Okay.
My
You know,
turquoise, too.
I hate to put a Steeler on there, but I got to go with
Jack Lambert.
Jack Lambert.
Okay.
The boy from Kansas City, Derek
Derek Thomas was a beast.
Derek Thomas.
13 sacks in 11 games his first season
Yeah.
with a bad ankle.
Right.
What's that, 4?
Yeah.
Did I say Singletary?
No, you did not say Singletary.
All right, I'll throw Singletary in.
My top 5 is
Yeah.
I can't, there's so many I can't pick them.
Okay, top 5.
Lawrence Taylor, Ricky Jackson used to play with the Saints.
See, that's what I said yesterday. Ricky Jackson was a beast.
Dick Butkus.
Okay.
Ray Lewis.
Okay.
And Derek Thomas.
That's what I said. I said Taylor, and this is my actual.
People forget about Ricky.
Here's my
Jackson.
actual order. I'm gonna tell you right now. Ray Lewis, good, bad, or indifferent. He took them to the Super Bowl. He was the heart of that team. I give Ray Lewis as far as impact. So I'm gonna go Taylor, Ray Lewis. I'm trying to really keep it honest with you guys. I got to go with Derek Thomas. I got to go with Sayal. And
Sayal.
no, man, I know we were talking about this in the elevator, man. Chip Banks, man, of the
Yeah,
Browns,
Chip
man.
Banks was good,
Chip
but he ain't
Banks
on
had
that level.
137
He wasn't
tackles
on
in
that
9
level.
games.
He was good.
Okay, he wasn't the
on
greatest
that
of all
second
time, so
tier.
I will default to Ricky
That's
Jackson.
very cheap.
I will default to Ricky Jackson.
Ricky Jackson in the Hall?
I don't know.
He might be. I think so.
He might be. You know, we've got 1 minute left in the show. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Again, 216-298-1554. This is We've Got Issues with Mike Stitz and Duran Freeman. And of
Like
course,
our
me,
page,
Donald
like our
Boggs.
We've Got Issues page on
Get
Facebook.
out and vote like my mom said. Please, please, please. We'll see you guys next week. Actually, on my birthday, have a great week. Get out and vote. Be kind to one another. Put God first, and everything else will fall into place. Mike, take us out.
Father, we just thank you for a day that we've never seen before and a day we'll never see again. We thank you for all the things that you've done for us. We ask that you continue to watch over us. Give us traveling grace and mercies as we go to our appointed destination. And as always, we'll be ever so careful to lift your name and praise. Amen.
Amen. Have a great week, everybody. Be kind to each other.